says Tony Romo.
Is this Alyssa?
Yeah.
His wife actually was a tester for Jackson Perkins, the rose company, and they bought the lot in back of that, and I remember going over and looking at the crumpled rose or the out of the rose, because she came over and asked me, she gotta see this, you just gotta see this, it was the strangest looking rose I ever saw. And it was a lavender rose. That was a neat house. That house and two houses north of me, the Schaub house, are identical houses at one time. It was. And like my house and the house south of me, that's John Rowan's, they were identical. But Dad did some change on it.
I call this meeting of the Only City Council, November 10th, 2025 to order. Please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing as the Reverend Jason Burkhart says our opening prayer. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
Father God, we thank you. Thank you for life that you give us. We thank you for our family, our friends, even this month of just giving you thanks. We thank you for the calmness that we have, but even sometimes the tension. And so I pray that we could be a people that are graceful, merciful, loving, excellent listeners. Even tonight over this meeting, God, I pray that we exhibit a little bit more of what your Son would do and how he would interact with other people. Help us take on his character and his attributes. So tonight I pray over this meeting that they will govern diligently, act mercifully and justly, but also to give them keen insight and oversight over what's going on in this community, so that they can make appropriate, godly decisions. Again, God, we just proclaim all glory goes to you. Thank you for giving us the privilege to be able to serve our community in this way. And so, God, I do pray for these leaders that they will do their job well tonight. In your Son's name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Thank you very much. Call the roll, please.
Councilman Miller?
Present.
Councilman Fehrenbacher?
Here.
Councilwoman Eichhorst?
Present.
Councilman Iyer?
Present.
Mayor Lambert?
Here. First item on the agenda, public comments and presentations. Are there any public comments?
I had the opportunity to attend the Plan Commission meeting last week and learned quite a bit. I wasn't aware that the proposed changes to the cannabis ordinance were in part to bring the city's ordinance more in line with recent changes with the state's ordinance. Adult use cannabis is presently legal in the state, so is gaming, consuming liquor, and smoking. None of those are things that I happen to indulge in, but others do, and the fact is they are all legal in the state of Illinois. I also know that whether or not allowing adult use cannabis related businesses or facilities in the city is not the question before the council this evening. However, I have had opportunity to look at the existing ordinance and the proposed new ordinance and have a couple of observations. The new ordinance stipulates similar adult use cannabis dispensaries, craft growers, or infusers may not be located within 1,500 feet of another same type of facility. Yet at the same time, it drops the distance from 1,500 feet to 1,000 feet to a pre-existing public or private nursery school, preschool, primary or secondary school, daycare center, daycare home, or residential care home. It eliminates the present 1,500 feet distance such a business can be located from a church. And it eliminates the present 250-foot distance such businesses can be located from pre-existing property zoned or used for residential purposes. So I find it very interesting that the ordinance is very concerned about preventing competition for these businesses, yet is not so concerned about students, children at daycare centers, and removes all protection for parishioners at churches or individuals in their homes. I was happy to see, though, that the proposed new ordinance eliminates the current provision for on-site consumption, because I get a little nervous when I drive past Grayville and there's cars coming out of there if they've been consuming. I would respectfully request the council consider adding churches back to the list of entities that adult-use cannabis businesses cannot be near, and also adding back the present 250 feet distance limit for homes. Thank you for your consideration and the opportunity to comment on the issue.
As a point of clarification, Mr. Zuber, in state law, they are the ones that prescribe the 100 or 1,500 feet from another dispensary, whatever.
And absolutely, and it may be less than that now, that's what it was in 2019. And there are actually exceptions to that now. I mean, if you drive to a larger city, you will see multiple dispensaries very close together because they've got the exception. But Ms. Winkles is right, a lot of this is just conforming more closely to state law, but yes.
Okay, very good. Any further public comments? Any further public comments? Next item on the agenda is presentation of the consent agenda, which includes to approve minutes of the council meeting on October 27th, 2025. Approve and authorize payments of accounts payable November 12th, 2025. Any of these items need to be removed from the consent agenda. I would accept a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Take your choice. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is presentation of ordinances and resolution. Number one is ordinance to amend Title 17 zoning of the City of Honolulu Municipal Code. Mr. Parker.
And this ordinance comes recommended by our Plan Commission, and it does pertain to cannabis and the locations and other various things within the ordinance. But I think the location is the main interest of people.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Any further discussion?
Yeah, will there be discussion if it is approved, or will we have to make that an additional item at the next meeting?
That would have to be an item at the next meeting if we don't do any discussion now.
Well,
Mr. Zuber, can we amend what they proposed by increasing 250 feet from residences or the churches? Or does it have to go back to the planning commission?
I think it has to go back to the planning commission.
Okay, very good.
Well, in light of the referendum that is coming in a few short weeks, that we might better know the will of the people regarding a dispensary even being placed within the city limits of Alma. These proposed changes may be again a moot point. It is curious to me why this is being addressed at this time, considering it's been on the books for over 70 months, being passed in December of 2019, that's pretty close. And the referendum was in 4 months, 15 weeks. So can we not delay this until we better know what the will of the people is regarding this issue?
I think that would be up to the council. There is a motion on the floor to approve what the planning commission has approved in an 8-to-1 vote. If that were to fail, well, then we would go back to where we're at currently. There would be no changes made.
Well, then, let's discuss what was said at the planning commission, for I was there as well. And I was not surprised, but disappointed that there was no more absolute understanding of what was being proposed by the changes. There seemed to be no awareness that the distance to a residence of 250 feet had been, or a church had been removed. And that was concerning, and there seemed to be no direct understanding of exactly where a property could accommodate a dispensary. There was some attempt by Mr. Holder to say that he thought it was limited on North 130, which is true, and that it would be mostly likely to be on South 130. which is also true, but not to the extent that it extends to 130. It really is a distance comprising on 130 from Main Street to about where Woods Auto Body is, which entails some 18 properties. He also made the statement that he didn't think there would be many places on Main Street, very few, which is indeed correct. The majority of Main Street would be ineligible. However, as written, the proposed changes would allow up to 53 total locations on Main Street, including the very central business district of the city of Olney. Open for a dispensary would be from Kitchell Avenue to Boone Street, save for 2 properties, that being the barber shop, who I do not know who owns that anymore. It used to be where Larry Starbucks had a shop, and King's Furniture. To save those 2 addresses, from Boone Street to Kitchell would be available for a dispensary, including the parking lot across from the courthouse, which I believe is considered on the block for sale. And then there's the issue of Whittle Avenue. Virtually the entire length of Whittle Avenue is available for dispensary as long as it is zoned C2, C3, M1, M2. And that is a lot of properties. From Whittle, virtually everything from Maine to Route to US 50, it's 94 properties. If you take those 94 plus the others available on Main Street, plus those available on 130, I did about 3 hours of research and a lot of map searching, a lot of measuring. I came up with 202 possible locations with the changes. That certainly is, according to Mr. Oldham, very few opportunities for a placement of a dispensary.
How many do you estimate under 15 with the current
Well,
regulation?
I ran out of time, Bryce. You know, if we put it back up to 1,500, I don't know, but it would be significantly less. But the biggest challenge to the dispensary would be adding back in proximity to a residence. If a dispensary cannot be adjacent to a residential property, that is the most restrictive covenant or condition, certainly along Main Street. I did not get to that far, but I know as written, the only condition now is to be 1,000 feet from a school daycare or daycare. That opens up about 200 properties that would be available. And again, we are at the point where until the referendum is addressed by the public and we see the will of the people, there is an opportunity for a dispensary to come in even now. And if we approve this tonight, a great many more opportunities for dispensary. Now, Mr. Mayor, I do believe I asked you directly, had you been in contact with anyone that is looking to place a dispensary within the city of Olney at this time?
Since 2019, I've been in contact with a great deal, many people that would like to place a dispensary in town, and there was never any place for it to go. I would remind the council that if you go to Lawrenceville, they have one in their downtown business district.
So does Mount Carmel.
And so, and I had spoken with those folks there, and they've not had a great outbreak of crime or any problems, but they had had a great influx of funding, which I think here, at least the opinion of some of us on this council is that funding would go strictly to roads. And what Lawrenceville's going to collect this year is going to be in the neighborhood of $300,000. And that will probably continue to grow. And they have not had more police problems, they've not had anything like that happen. I mean, they just haven't. I've spoken with those folks.
What about the impact on personal lives?
You know, that is within the bounds of things being legal. I mean, there's any number of things you can do that have personal impact on your life.
I think a lot of the understandings that people have are just opinions of, we have not seen more crime. If you actually look at the studies of Colorado, they're the first ones to jump on this bandwagon. That is absolutely untrue. They are seeing crime, and whenever they passed marijuana legislation to make it legal, they always pass it under a criminal justice idea that, well, we will see less, less poor minority, citizens be arrested, and in fact, it has gone up. You have seen truancies go up. You've really seen crime go up, and this is just a total myth that everybody likes to throw out there. Now, this is a moot point, but I just want to get that out, that it is not, maybe it's not true in Mount Carmel, because there's only one, but I know for sure, Colorado is a perfect case study that that is not true.
Back to home here, Bryce, Mr. Mayor, you say you have been in contact with many persons that might be interested in placing a dispensary here. Is that moving this proposed change to the existing ordinance so that they do have found a place that would meet the changes? They couldn't come in with 1,500 feet, but they can come in at 1,000 feet?
I have had no conversations with anybody that has found a place here that would indicate that any of these changes would directly impact and they would be ready to go. However, with that being said, I think it does make it more likely that this can happen. I will remind the council that in 2019, that this passed the council unanimously.
No, it did not. I was on the council at that time, sir, and I voted against it.
Okay, so there's 4 to 1.
Okay.
If we can have smoother streets in Olney, I'm a big fan of that cannabis tax rather than the mass exodus of Olney people going to Effingham and Grayville to buy whatever they're buying.
We addressed the infrastructure situation, Mr. Miller, by passing a 1% sales tax in the business district. And that is proving adequate to provide our needs over the next several years.
So our streets are all currently smooth.
No, but the business district tracks now being applied to infrastructure such as roads, sewer, and roads and sewers and repavement, that does free up other general funds to address the other roads within town. I mean, we recently did Cherry Street, we recently did Silver Street. Those streets will continue to be addressed because the money freed up that would have been applied to the business district infrastructure that is now going to be covered by the income from the business district tax.
I think there is some truth to that, but I think there's also some truth to be said that we cannot keep up with the sheer amount of infrastructure improvements that we need to be making. We have
We do.
84 miles of roads, and if we were to do one of those a year, it would be 84 years. If we can do 2 a year, well, we cut that in half to only 42 years. And that's still not good enough, but it's a start.
And what's next in 10 years? We'll move from dispensaries to actual bars that we allow this at. And then what's the next step? Every generation says that this is the stopping point, and it's never the stopping point. It always moves on.
And about consumption in dispensaries, the current ordinance right now does not permit consumption on site.
Now,
Without permit, they can be permitted to, but it is not an automatic, it is not allowed.
just wait.
Now.
I mean,
And
it used to be that in Illinois, it was controversial that we passed the lottery to fund education. And now we have gambling on every street corner, and now we're talking about dispensaries. 10 years from now, we're gonna talk about smoking bars, so to speak. You go over to Missouri, that's exactly what you have. I know exactly the direction this will go, and each and every time it will be, well, we've gotta fund our roads somehow, well, we've gotta fund this somehow, and eventually there's gonna be, I don't know, what will ever stop it.
Well, I would encourage this council to not approve these changes tonight, and if the will of the people through the referendum reveals that, hey, they want a dispensary to come in, then we can revisit this very change to the ordinances, and it can be approved at that time. I will go with the will of the people. I mean, I'm not for it in one iota, which is pretty obvious, but I will go with the will of the people. If the will of the people, majority want a dispensary to be placed within the city, then I would like to revisit these changes with the caveat that the distance to a residence, the distance to a church be added back in.
I would agree with that. If the referendum says yes, I will approve these changes with that caveat and honor both the will of the people and the will of the planning commission.
Thank you. But to approve this tonight would make us vulnerable, even more vulnerable over the next 4 months for a dispensary to come in. The standards would be lowered to a great degree.
So I would remind the council that the referendum is strictly advisory, and that it is being placed upon a election that is historically known for low turnout. The only
Except-
lower turnout we could have done was perhaps a consolidated municipal election in an odd year.
I disagree, Mayor. If it's a hot enough topic, which this one certainly is, we had over 40 persons in this chamber a few weeks ago addressing their displeasure with the concept. There were a handful that were for it, certainly, but the vast majority in this very chamber were against it.
We're all elected in a low turnout election. We've passed sales tax referendums in low turnout elections. It doesn't make it any less legitimate because it's a low turnout election.
If I may, Mr. Holder did state at the Plan Commission meeting that he would like to see the 250 feet to a residence put back in, but he did not include that as a motion. And I'm not sure that anyone realized churches had been dropped.
Well, that's my opinion, but if
Questions, comments? Questions, comments?
Due to the fact that we're talking in circles here, I'd call for the previous question to be addressed.
Previous question, is there a second? I'll second that. All those in favor of previous question, this brings it up to a vote, we end the discussion.
Clarify, what are we saying?
This brings it up to a vote. Previous question passes, then we go immediately to vote and ends discussion.
roll call, please.
Call a roll.
I'm still not clear on what are we doing here?
So the main motion's on the floor, has
Yes.
been seconded.
And it has been seconded.
We have had discussion. Mr. Miller called previous question, ends discussion, should it pass,
Yes.
and brings up the vote.
So our response now
Is
is,
not indicative of how you vote on the main motion. This is just previous question.
this is just moving forward
Yes.
to the vote.
Yes.
Just to clarify.
Yeah. Call a roll, please.
Councilwoman Ikorst,
Yes.
Councilman Iyer,
Yes.
Mayor Lambert,
Yes?
Councilman Miller,
Yes.
Councilman Fehrenbacher.
Yes.
Call the roll on the main motion, please.
Councilman Fehrenbacher,
No.
Councilwoman Ikorst,
Yes.
Councilman Iyer,
No.
Mayor Lambert,
Yes?
Councilman Miller.
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to accept bid for the North Avenue Water Main Replacement Project. Mr. Barker and Mr. Bridges.
Okay, we have received bids for that project. Kiefer Brothers, out of Mount Carmel, bid $759,098. And Dashel Contracting out of Marshall, Illinois, $772,906. And that makes Kiefer Brothers the low bidder on that project. And we are familiar with Kiefer Brothers. They've done a lot of work for us here and been very satisfactory.
Yeah, I was talking to Councilman Miller about this. This water line replacement, is it in imminent need? And the reason I ask is, if we were to do this work now, and we have to wait another 4 to 5 years to resurface the road, do we want to do that, or would it be better to let this $750,000 maybe sit in a CD and collect some interest?
Mr. Bridges?
The water line sitting now is pretty bad shape.
It is.
You go down North Avenue, there's patches everywhere. Well, they dug it up and repaired it. So it's in rough shape, it really is. And to put it off, it's not gonna get cheaper. And I know you can put the money maybe in the CD and get some interest, but, I think it'll be more expensive whenever it's done. And I would really recommend you do it now.
And this is going to be moving the water main from the middle of the road to the right-of-way?
It's actually the north side of the road, but it will be moved out from there, and it'll be built in the grass area between the curb and the sidewalk.
Mike, looking at delaying it, how much do you think, how much are prices going up each year? What
They
percentage?
slowed down, they have slowed down from what they were,
Mhm.
3 or 4 years ago, but in general, it's probably, 5 to 10%.
Which is quite considerable.
No ditches.
the delay of install would completely overwhelm any kind of profit we would make on interest
I
for the
would
CD.
think so.
So, bottom line is, better to do.
And we do have some low water pressure in that part
And
of
we
town.
don't have much
And it could help that.
interest
This,
expense.
this could help that, because we're going from part of it's 4-inch, part of it's going to a new 8-inch PVC line.
I'm sure our fire department will appreciate that, isn't that right, chief?
Yes, sir. If I may, the last pressure fire we had down there was at the corner of North and Elliott, and we weighed 1,600 feet of 5-inch to the Will Avenue hydrant because of that. It's very reason. Just
So,
to-
and there will be some cuts made in North Avenue, but not as many as, say, if we leave it at bust over the next 4 years.
Most of the crossings will be bored. There will be some tie-ins. Actually, probably the street that's gonna get hit worst is Woodland. Because we have to cut that all the way across, tying the 8-inch line. Andy Street. Tie-ins there in the middle, we can't avoid.
Now, will the approach help fix part of that problem when we redo that overpass?
Yes. I mean, that will,
I can find it.
the street project is actually gonna extend past East Street.
So, well, but I meant when we do so if we do a cut on East Street, will that be taken care of when we do that
No.
overpass?
No, that, the work on East Street Bridge stops at the end of the concrete part.
And look at these.
Questions, comments? Questions, comments, or a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve. I
Second.
think from a
Second.
fire protection standpoint alone is worth it.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to authorize handicap parking spaces on North Walnut Street to the east of the Richland County Courthouse. Mr. Barker.
And we've had a request to authorize handicap parking in that area, which is, I think we've already completed the construction on that to allow that. It's on the east side of the courthouse on Walnut Street there.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is an ordinance to authorize the sale of personal property owned by the city of Olney, a 1999 Pierce snorkel truck from the fire department. Mr. Burke.
And we have obtained an offer from Christie Fire Department to purchase this truck, which has come, that we do no longer need this truck because we've replaced it already, so that offer is $25,000 from Christie Fire Department for the snorkel, and we've owned it for many years.
2012.
It's really a truck that's not useful to our
Yeah, the downside of growing infrastructure and growing city is that our fire department has to change how we do what we do. And for Sumner and their buildings and their infrastructure over there, I think that truck's gonna serve them well. And it will still be, we have a standing mutual aid agreement with the Christie Fire Protection District, so, that truck by going to Christie will still be available for use for us if it is needed for mutual aid. The truck that we replaced it with fits our needs far more than what that truck has over the years.
Questions, comments, motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Can
Second.
I make an unrelated request while I'm thinking of it? I've had multiple people who watch these meetings on YouTube that wish the audience member would go to the microphone when you're good, but
Oh, yeah.
they can't hear you.
Motion.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Further discussion? Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
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 Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to accept quote for a 2000 Pierce Dash fire truck for the fire department and waive formal bidding procedures and amend the 25-26 budget. Mr. Barker.
And this truck would more or less take the place of the truck we just authorized the sale of, $26,500. And the chief's here to make any comments or answer any questions about that.
Yes, you should have got a packet, I believe, from Kelsey that I put together, just kind of outlines a lot of what was, I think, been going on over the last couple of weeks with this truck. In your packet, there's a breakdown, obviously, of the cost of the truck itself, as well as some expenses that have already accrued as far as the aerial inspection And then the rest of it that's in your packet, you can kind of read through what I said in there. But to kind of summarize, there's some figures there. I would really appreciate if we could get the purchase price for $26,500, as well as an additional 20 to 25,000 for some of these items that are on that list that we need to take care of to get this truck really where it needs to be for us to use it. The items I listed on there, 1 through 8, being the truck itself, an aerial inspection, the rear tires, rear dual tires on it, as well as the electric over hydraulic controls, and the gearbox seal replacement, the master stream nozzle, the mobile radio, and the auto ladder portable radio, as well as the pump test and waterway, and then the department decals are all things that equal that $47,306.14, as I outlined in your letters. But I do believe that would get us in the best shape right now. And then the other items that are on that list are all things as stated in the letter that we could continue to work towards over the next several months and potentially try to work into the fiscal budget of next year.
Okay, I have questions. I always
Sure.
have questions. I'm
That's
sorry.
fine. I'm happy to answer.
Okay, number 7, mobile radio and auto ladder portable. Wouldn't that have just went in the snorkel truck that we just sold?
No, we have not replaced that radio yet. That is one of the mobile radios in the radio system upgrade, in that 440-7610 that Chief Bloomer and I put together for the new radio project.
Yep.
That is one of the mobiles that is set to be replaced. The 2 I replaced this year are in newer trucks, so we have been trying to kind of avoid placing mobiles in the older trucks for this reason, because we knew there would come a time at some point where they would have to be traded, moved on to a different
Okay.
vehicle.
So the snorkel, it wasn't in the big package we approved?
No, it is, but we have not replaced it yet.
So
We
we
have not.
can't just put that radio in the ladder truck?
We could, but we would end up replacing it in this 7610 right now. So basically, it would be a waste of time, in my opinion, for the, go ahead.
But that's already budgeted, correct?
Correct.
Right.
That's already budgeted. So
Okay.
that's nothing that you have to have extra money
So
for.
I didn't even,
No, the $43,812.14 is without that specific line item.
of Command Zone Information Center and lighting replacement / upgrades, what would you rather spend money on?
Well, the command zone and the lighting replacement upgrades are not a part of this factor tonight. Those are the items that I said I would like to look at, continuing moving forward at looking at potential other avenues.
Yeah, but if you take 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8, you get $17,312.14. That leaves you, and like we previously discussed, we talked 25 grand.
Mm-hmm.
So you still got 76, 87, 86 out of that left. So would you rather have the command zone, or would you rather spend 76, 87 on lighting?
So we would be probably spending that on the department decals, item number 10, and the lighting replacement and or pump work, item number 13.
Department decals is in that 17,312.
Okay, I didn't know what you all figured into that, so you.
Yeah, I went, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10.
Okay, and I
Is
didn't hear you say 10.
17,000.
Okay, I didn't hear you say 10 the first time, I'm sorry.
So would you, so you got 76 left out of your Christie 25, would you rather spend that on lighting or the command zone?
We would probably be looking at the lighting and the pump work, trying to see, because I think once we get the pump test done here in the next couple of weeks, we will have an idea of what needs to be replaced on that. So for me, the command zone information center, as we had discussed, it's a very high priced item for one particular part of the truck. And we are looking at alternatives now as far as even trying to find a used one to replace that one, because that quote is for a new upgraded version. There's been 3, so this information center, there's been 3 advances in that technology, if you will, over the last 25 years at Pierce. So they don't have that direct replacement anymore, so they would have to retrofit the new version of it. So we are actively looking at trying to see if we can find one potentially on a truck that's been wrecked or anything of that nature. So that's kind of at the bottom of our concern right now. The pump work and the lighting are the major issues. We've been working on the lighting for the last couple of weeks, and we've kind of ran out of our freebies, if you will.
Alright, so I'm gonna just run down through this so Ms. Sturkey can type. We previously approved the 26.5 for the vehicle purchase at the last meeting. So I would be looking to approve $1,595 for aerial inspection, $5,693.84 in tires, $5,474.30 in electric over hydraulic controls, $500 gearbox seal, master stream nozzle made by Sentinel, $2,049, pump test, waterway test, $500, and to put the rest of the Christie $25,000 toward
And the decals.
department decals and markings, and I would make that a motion.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Further discussion?
Yes. Chief, he says, Woods looked at the body and thought it was gonna need some paint, some rusty areas.
Correct.
In this locale, rust doesn't start from the top down, it starts from underneath and comes up, so unless there has been some damage or some of the paint has been removed because of operation and it's been scraped or, abused. Is there any structural rust on the truck?
Not that we've found at this time, no.
Okay.
Justin and I and Clayton, as well as several of our firemen have been inside, outside, underneath every, spot on the truck we could possibly get to. There is a section of it that has some surface rust on it that Justin and I are taking preventative measures for. We're gonna try to, kind of sand it down and seal it and then repaint it, because in the long term, rust obviously becomes corrosive, and once it gets to that level, it's gonna cause major issues.
From your observation, the rust on the truck is from either damage or the paint film has been scratched and then it
Right.
just bleeds
Right.
under that.
Yeah, or in areas where the paint may be, where there's a moving part consistently. The paint that Woods was referring to is just the exterior of the truck, where the door handles all have a standing hinge on them that runs all the way across the door, and
Right.
near those areas the paint's kind of starting to bubble. And he said essentially at some point it's obviously going to rust through. We did buff the truck for several days and really worked on it to try to make sure some of those areas aren't going to get any worse. And so we think right now that we're probably going to be okay, but at some point we will have to reapproach that, I'm sure, and actually get it done.
With the trimmed list proposed by Councilman Miller, are you comfortable with that?
Absolutely,
Think you
yes.
can move forward?
Yes, and I think, to his point, what's left over after
Sale.
everything takes place, so we'll be able to, most of it can come through the council as far as if it stays in capital improvement anyway. I'm interested to see what the pump and the
Where's
valve
Jerry,
work.
where is Jerry's Automotive? Where you get
It
it?
is out of Evansville.
So you're driving this puppy to Evansville?
No.
They can come
so,
here and test?
Yeah, so they test them here, and historically, the 1996 Spartan Towers apparatus that we have had not passed vacuum test for the last 9 years. And last year, I had 2 of our firemen rebuild some of the valves in it, and it passed for the first time this year. So I'm confident that we will be able to do a lot of this work ourselves. That was just, when I called them and said, worst case scenario, what are we looking at if this pump is just completely shot? Those are the numbers they gave me.
Thank you.
I only saw the tires in the dark. Are they worse than what they appeared?
So we have one on the driver's side that is leaking. We don't necessarily know where they're at right now, and then we have one that has a nail in it. And from what we observed, they look like they're recap tires. And I talked to Sam at Marathon, and he had some concerns about us having those on fire trucks. They're also past their 10-year age limit as well, which is something that historically we have always ensured we didn't do. The front 2 steer tires are not, they're 2017, and they're still in good shape, so we've got some time yet on those. But the rear tires are past their DOT age limit.
Questions, comments, further questions or comments?
thanks to the fire department for everything you've done. I learned more about fire trucks in the last 3 weeks than I ever thought I would, and, Mr. Iyer, I've been all over that thing. There is some slight surface rust here and there, but everything I've seen thus far, you guys are really stepping up and you're taking care of a lot of
Yeah, I would
minor
absolutely,
things on it.
like to take a moment just to thank our guys publicly. Our department, our guys that came in both on the paid on call side and the full-time side and really rolled their sleeves up and just worked tirelessly. We've had that truck, going on 14 days now, 15 days. And there is absolutely no way, shape or form it would be worth the truck that it is right now without those guys coming in and doing what they've done. I mean, some of them have volunteered time, some of them are doing it while they're on shift, obviously, but, it would not be where it's at all without their help, so.
Well, and the gentleman that sold us the truck came down for you guys to push it into the bay, week
Last
ago
Thursday.
Thursday.
Yep.
And he was very complimentary about our fire department, about our fire chief, and just said we've got a good group of people, so thank you to them.
Yep.
And yourself. All right, any further discussion? Further discussion. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Thank you very much, chief. Next item on the agenda is a resolution to accept quote for a, resolution to, estimated amount of 2025 tax levy. Mr. Burker.
Ms. Gwen couldn't be here tonight, so she asked me to
She's
fill in
right
all
here.
this.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, okay. Ms. Gwen couldn't be here, so I'm gonna do this on her behalf here, and, this, for the new council, we pass a resolution each year to, not to exceed 5%, but not to exceed 4.99, and that's what this is tonight. And then at next council meeting, we'll discuss the, budget, levy, tax levy, and then vote on December the 8th. So tonight, we're just saying we're not gonna exceed 4.99.
Questions, comments? Questions, comments, or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is discussion of possible action, increased fireworks contributions. Next year is our 250th anniversary. We have been giving $1,000. We had, or $10,000. We had budgeted 15,000, which they only requested 10. I think it would be nice next year to go up to 20 to have a $25,000 firework display for 1 year for the 250th anniversary of our country. Any further discussion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda. Discussion of welcome to only signs. You see in your packet, we have these metal signs. These is nothing fancy. These are simply the signs that are out there, and I think we should either A, take them down or refresh them for about $500 a piece, is what Tyler thought they would cost. There's a picture of them in there. They're just in fairly ratty shape.
Rather than spend the money on these same signs, can we investigate newer, nicer signs than even these?
It doesn't matter to, I mean,
If you're aware, if you remember, Project Community was in here.
Yes.
And we let, the Valentine's Day benefit guests, decide between two projects. The welcome sign was not the one picked, but it is, the intentions of Project Community to follow up with that project as soon as Harmony Park is done. So that is our intentions. We already have locations for the signs, and we have, the layout and design for the sign that has been not really approved by the council, but we have the council's blessing on moving forward with them.
I just think these either need to be removed or
Time,
updated.
time frame on that? Do you think Harmony Park will be done next year?
We're hoping it'll all
Okay.
depend on funding.
So maybe looking at this 27, 28? Ish.
Sure.
So-
Kelsey, wasn't there money put aside from the 175th earmarked for?
25 500, and that is included in this year's budget after they made that presentation back in January. We weren't sure of a timeline then, but yes, 2,500.
This is simply for the metal signs. Like I said, we either need to take them down or refresh these as they are.
And it would be 500 to refresh.
He thought they would be.
We're talking 2 more years at least.
Yeah.
And I'd rather have to see a sign replaced for, we have 3 signs coming in
think
town?
that's what-
3
that's
for
what-
$1,500 the next, rather than no sign at all coming into Olney. In light that we will be getting nicer signs soon.
Or-
So-
There's still the only signs though when you come in from the state, aren't there?
From the state, yes,
Well,
but nothing
he's
like
made for
welcome to
sure.
Olney. Yeah.
I'm just saying, it doesn't matter to me. I just think we ought to do something or take them down because they look pretty ratty.
They do not present a good frame.
What's the future project, with Project Community? What's the general, conception that they're thinking about with sign, like a grand one, a real nice one?
Doing new welcome signs at all the.
With
entrances
masonry
to
pillars
Olney.
and,
I mean, much grander than
Much
these
nicer.
metal posts with
Yeah,
a
I
metal
don't know,
sign,
I
you
didn't,
know.
wasn't aware this
Landscaping
was
and
going to be
flower
talked
bed, I
about,
mean,
so.
just much nicer.
this isn't our welcome signs. You just need to be something done with them because they look pretty.
Right.
But you're,
Doesn't matter to me.
you're 2 years out on that
I doubt
minimum.
it, but I mean, I'm not going to
No
say, but I doubt we're 2 years out.
Can we use TERS money for this?
Oh, I suspect.
I expect, well,
I would think so.
I would be in favor of replacing these 3 with a similar sign.
That's
in
what I
the
mean. I
intro.
just, like I said, either take them down or replace them.
Yeah, let's
Just
replace
them
them
down.
with tourism, as long as it's tourism money.
Is there a motion as such?
I make such a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Further discussion, seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is request for the East Fork Bassmasters exception for fishing tournaments at East Fork Lake.
Each year, the Bassmasters ask for this same set of exceptions. 2 of them are for their big tournaments, which are requesting a boat limit higher than 30, which is our current regulation. The regulation also limits each club to 6 tournaments per year, and they're asking for 7, I believe. And again, they've been approved each year, and there have been no issues.
How about 8? It says 8. Questions, comments? We have historically approved this request. Questions, comments, or a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Motion made, second. Any further discussion? Further discussion. Seeing none, we'll proceed to vote. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. Next item on the agenda is report from elected and appointed officials. Status report, Mr. Barker.
I have nothing additional, be glad to answer anything anybody may have.
Questions or comments for the city manager? Questions or comments? RCDC report. Nothing there. Chamber of Commerce report.
We had a fabulous Halloween parade and with vendors downtown. Main Street was really alive and active, which was so good to see. Ladies' Night is coming up and it is completely sold out. And the tree lighting will be November the 26th at 5:30 Bower Park.
Okay. Thank you very much. Nothing on tourism board report. Anything further? I would accept a motion to enter into closed session to discuss the sale or lease price of real property, acquisition of real property,
So moved.
appointment, employment, compensation, and performance of specific employees and litigation matters.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed,